Welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Elliott with Rickety Ski Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the atomic bent shuttler. Somehow we're still talking about it. I really kicked the can with my last couple videos. You'd think, oh, Elliott, maybe you'll do the reasonable thing. You'll move on to the next ski, and no. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep talking about it. I swear, this will probably be like the last couple of days that I'll talk about it, and then we'll move on to a different ski, because I want to talk more about the Vocal Mantra and a couple of other skis I've talked about but want to go more in depth on. Yeah, for right now, let's talk about the Atomic Bent 100 to be specific. Now, I've seen some comments, I've read through a lot of them. They are all over the place. Some people saying, I had the exact same experience, I didn't really like them. Another person said, I'm on the East Coast and Curated put me in these skis and I hate them. So let me just address kind of what I've seen so far. Some of the comments were really well thought out. Some of them were kind of head scratching. One comment was like, oh, no professional skier would ever tell someone to relax and lean back. First off, I was saying that because the skiers were hunched over. It's relative, right? If you're hunched over, you should lean back to be in a neutral stance, okay? Secondly, if you're in really deep powder, you can lean back a little bit. Like you can kind of let your skis float on top, okay? So, does this guy not ski powder? What's up with that? But anyway, the more thoughtful comment I saw was asking about how you take carving mechanics and implement them in a deep powder situation. It's a hard thing to describe. When you have good clean turns in the powder, it is similar to carving, but it's not as much pressure and leverage and breaking kind of your edges through the snow. It's the same fundamentals, like you've got the same kind of turn initiation, you're still setting up your line the same, but it's more gradual. It's more of a fine skill rather than a strength skill. So think about it like this, like imagine you're trying to cut a block of cheese. That's what I would say is most the feeling that's most like carving. You really pressure down and then you break through. When you're on the soft snow, it's a little bit more like sifting through flour, if any of you bake. But it's more like when you have flour and you're trying to sift through it with your hands and you want to kind of mold it. Imagine that. Imagine you're trying to change the shape of the flour. So it's the same mechanic of like moving the skis into position and setting up your turns, but it's more about floating and gradually making the turn. Because if you try to put too much edge on this powder all at once, you're gonna kind of sink in and cut through and catch your tip, and you know, you're not gonna have a good time. I'm gonna take the same mechanic of turning the ski, but I'm gonna use a wider ski, obviously that's why they have powder skis, and I'm gonna just kind of gradually feather into the turn and round it off. So your timing is different, your pressure is different, but overall it's got a lot of the same pieces. Yeah, you just have to have like a really soft touch. A lot of East Coast skiers, myself included, they have a hard time when they first get out west. Like the first week I was out here, I got a concussion because I was trying to like, load my pressure and load my edges, and I just sank through the snow because it's so soft out here. East Coast skiers are very disciplined and very strong skiers when it comes to breaking through ice, but West Coast skiers tend to have a little bit more finesse and a little bit more of like fine motor skills when it comes to turn initiation and bringing the ski around. I hope that answers your question. The bigger the turns and the bigger the hill, the more you kind of open those turns up. So it just depends on your line. If you've ever snowboarded, snowboarding gives you a lot of really good skills in that way. Because of snowboarding, you have to kind of look ahead farther, especially if you're in the trees and the trees are narrow. There's times where you can't even put your snowboard sideways to stop, right? So you have to like kind of look ahead and gauge how much speed you have. I would say powder skiing is a lot like that. It's a lot like kind of floating, gradual turns, but also looking ahead and planning your turn shape based on like knowing how the skis are going to come around, how much time it's going to take to kind of finish that turn in the powder. I know that's not really a great like concrete answer, but I don't think one of those like concrete answers really exists. I think it's just the same fundamentals as carving, but stretched out and feathered a lot more. Great comment. I mean, it was very thoughtfully written and I really appreciate it, so thank you. Now the next comment reply below that comment was basically asking if I had watched some of Chris Bent Shuttler's skiing, if I had seen it online, and they said that that really helped them understand better what the skiing was supposed to look like. And I did watch it. I watched, I'm not gonna react to it because it's probably copyrighted music. I don't know for sure, but it sounded like copyrighted music. And ever since dealing with E and the Kardashians, I don't mess with copyrighted music. So I did watch it though, and my basic reaction was it didn't surprise me at all. It looks like big mountain, big powder skiing. It's like some of the best, my favorite type of skiing because it's so fun, it's so floaty. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you take a cat or a helicopter up to ski. He's beautiful skiing, he's very smooth, very talented, great skiing. But that being said, he's skiing on the bent 120. He's skiing on a very wide floaty ski. If I were to guess just from looking at it, it looked like a 188. Who knows if that's right. But yeah, he's skiing on a very, very big ski. And the skis that I demoed and I've been reviewing and that curated for some reason, recommending to intermediate skiers, to me, that's a different ski. The Bent 100 is a narrower ski. It's trying to kind of cover more ground and more range, but I don't think it does a great job. What I see him doing in those videos is powder skiing. It's big powder skiing. And I think the skis do a good job of that, but also he's skiing on the 120, which wasn't what I was reviewing. My theory on what's happened is that he's skiing on a powder specific ski, this big 120, 188 length. I mean, that's the real deal. He's skiing big mountains. And what they're selling is this bent ski all the way down to a 90 width. And they're really trying to make it a ski for everyone. And I think in some of those widths with the shape of the ski, it doesn't line up for that. So that makes sense why there's half of a turn, because when you're kind of floating on powder, the design makes a lot more sense, but it doesn't make sense for everybody. And it doesn't make sense really to me, even in like a 100 width or below. My theory is that they have got the ski, it's got a great graphic that he's designed, it's super popular, and they're trying to make it for everyone. And that's where the ski is kind of losing its character, losing what it specializes in, and trying to make it approachable for everyone. And I think that's why you get skis like the Bent 100 that I didn't really enjoy. You might say it's like a watered down version of what he's skiing on. But what I skied on was the Bent 100 on a powder day. They felt good in the powder, they were a little long, but when they got on the groomers, which is where a lot of people are gonna take 90 width, they really, really underperformed. So I think what I got was kind of a watered down version of what he skis on probably. Anyway, that's my take. I still, doesn't change my opinion. I think the Bent 100 is a good ski if you only wanna ski powder in the park, but if you're gonna ski on the groomers, I wouldn't buy it. You can tell me whatever you want about the skis, but I'm always gonna kind of trust what I'm feeling in my feet, because that's where a lot of the mechanics of skiing come from. And what I felt was an incomplete turn, and I don't know, not what I would recommend. Unless you're, like I said, you're in the park in the powder exclusively. And yeah, I've seen people that think I'm too sassy. Well, I don't know what to tell you about that. The sassiness isn't gonna go anywhere. So first, we're gonna react to Andy Lewicky's review of the Atomic Bent 100 skis. Now, Andy, I have never reacted to any of his content. I've mentioned in the past that I like his reviews a lot. He's just very straightforward, no nonsense, straight to the point. And I like it. I like how honest he is. I'm pretty sure he does like all-in-one chairlift ride. I've only watched a couple of videos. I have not watched this one, but Andy, I'm a fan. Andy Lewicky, I always find him fairly insightful. So today, we're gonna react to Andy Lewicky's video. All right, just as a review for everyone too, Atomic Bent 100s, I give them a 6 out of 10. I thought they floated in the powder really well, but I really said that there's no excuse for how poorly these carve and turn on the groom trails. For being a 100 width, they really should have more range. I really didn't care for them. They kind of had half of a turn. You load the ski, you could get that turn initiated, but then it would just kind of straighten out. It wouldn't kind of clip into the next turn. If you'd like, you can see my full review. You can see like 2 other videos I've got about this, but this is the first time reacting to Andy Lewicky.
All right, Andy here, back at Mammoth, and we're sticking with Atomic. We have got the Bent 100. Let's take a look at it. There it is right there. And you know, skis of late have not been particularly attractive in terms of their color and graphics. But Atomic with the Bent is giving us artwork designed by Chris Benchetler, who also designed the ski, and it's a pretty ski, so I like that. You know what, here's the sun. Let's take a look at it again. It's a pretty ski. So,
you know what I love about this too? Is he's riding on an old chairlift. Old chairlifts were so much quieter. You don't just have like the rattling every time you go by the high-speed quad. It gives him time to review the whole ski. It looks like it's all one take. Chef kiss, beautiful. He's talking about the top sheets. I normally roast people for kind of talking about top sheets, but in this case, they're a particularly artistic or tasteful top sheet. So I don't know. I'm not gonna ding him for talking about that because these top sheets are so kind of unique. Yeah, it's like the first thing you notice when you pick them up. That's probably why they sell so well. Because they're hard to miss when you're walking through the shop.
So right off the bat, I like that. This is a ski I was expecting to like better than the Maverick that we were just riding.
Yes! Okay, see? I'm not just making this up. Yes! You're expecting to like it more and float better than the Maverick? Yes, thank you. Some validation, thank you. I didn't watch this before. Yes, thank you. Okay, I'm not sure why. Maybe he's gonna have some weird reason, but that's exactly what I thought. I was expecting to buy them. I was expecting, oh, I'm just gonna try it and then I'll use the credit to buy it, so this is kind of a waste of time, but whatever. They are so hyped up, and yeah, I was so disappointed. They look so beautiful, you're expecting to love them, and in my case, I just could not forgive how poorly they turned. Isn't that what skiing's about? Turning? Okay, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Like, let's just watch it and see. Maybe you'll say something else.
And once again, the Atomics kind of have some surprises for us. I actually think the Maverick, in terms of its carving ability, is clearly superior, especially in that long radius, high-speed GS milieu.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it definitely carves a lot better, but not just in the GS turns. I mean, when I'm really loading up the Maverick, I guess if I'm loading up the Maverick 88 versus like the 100, but I can get like almost slalom turns in there. Yeah, when you're really loading it, it's a lot snappier. Every turn feels better because you're not only getting the turn initiation, you're getting kind of the energy back out of the turn, and that feels good when you're really loading a ski. This is A+ insightful. This guy's gotta be carving to feel that. I mean, I guess we'll see. It's hard because I don't think he shows himself skiing. And when I first watched his videos, I was very skeptical because he doesn't wear a helmet. I don't know if that's like an old guy thing, but you know, if you're watching this, wear your helmet. What? But everything I found has been insightful, and this is yeah, absolutely true. The Mavericks feel a lot better, especially when you hit that perfect GS turn. He was probably on a Maverick 100. I don't know for sure, but I would guess that if you're on a Maverick 100, that's where the GS turns kind of come in. When you're on like an 88 or 95, you can get a little bit closer to that slalom turn, kind of those quick turns. That's why when people make all these comments about not skiing on the Maverick, it's like, have you skied on both of them? I always wonder. Anyway, back to the review.
Much better edge to edge, much better carving, much more consistent. The bent's kind of surprising me, and it's a little bit of a mixed bag here. I'm not exactly sure what it is that's going on. It's a little bit erratic, or maybe I'd say inconsistent in terms of what happens when I put it on edge. I'm not always getting the turn that I expect out of it. The other thing I'm noticing is it's kind of weirdly harsh directly underfoot. This is a lighter ski.
Yeah, I mean, my analysis on what's happening is basically you're loading the ski and then the ski is kind of bottoming out and it's not giving you the turn, like the second half of the turn. So you load it up and then the back half is just going straight. So like that feels harsh underfoot because you can't get into your next turn. So you're not always focused on it because you're just trying to get the next turn started, but it really doesn't transition turn to turn well. And it's not a very like stable ski, like, or it's not stable, I shouldn't say that. It's not a very stiff ski because it doesn't have the Titanal, but it has kind of a beefy layout. And it's really disappointing when you don't get your full turn out of it. The way I described it is it felt kind of like wet noodles, almost like you load up the ski and then it just kind of gives you nothing back. The only place I could really complete a turn was on the Super G hill, but for the length of the skis and the width and everything, they really should have more kind of range in their turns.
Designed to be more playful, and you know what? It feels like that on the tip and the tail, but something's engaging right underneath my foot that feels a little grabby. Sometimes that's a result of ski construction, where some of these skis don't have full metal layers, and instead it's kind of the metal's under your foot, and they're doing things to stiffen the ski right there. Sometimes it's a construction issue. Sometimes it's just a bad tune.
Yeah, sometimes it's a bad tune, but did we both get bad tunes in completely different states on the same exact ski? No, I think it's a construction issue. That would be my guess. Yeah, they really are designed to be kind of floating on powder. And because they put this down to a 100 width, they've watered down that basic construction that's just supposed to kind of float, right? Because all it is about turn initiation and floating on top. This isn't giving you the whole turn because it's not built around that. So you're basically getting a watered down, specialized freestyle and powder ski. It's not just you. It's not just the tune. I'm right there with you. And I felt the exact same thing. I'm not just saying like, yeah, bro, we both hate the ski. No, I don't care about liking or hating skis, whatever. But I can tell you that I felt the same thing you're describing, where I would load up the turn, but the energy would basically stop under my foot. And I think that's what you're feeling. You're expecting to get the turn back kind of out of the tail where you can stand on the platform and go to the next turn. And when you're not getting that, it feels weird underfoot.
Sometimes the ski's not flat edge to edge, and that'll make them grabby. I unfortunately have no way to tell you which is which.
I mean, I can tell you, I feel it. When I'm like really loading them up into the Super G turn, that's how I can kind of feel it, because I took it onto one of the local mountain Super G hills when there was no one there and just gunned it. And that was the only way I could complete the turn, and that was how I could kind of feel where the energy was fizzling out, right? It was loading up on the tip, you could get the turn initiated, but then it wouldn't give you your energy back. It kind of fizzled out underfoot. I can tell you as someone who experimented with this on the Super G hill, that's what's happening. It's not a defective ski, it's nothing like that. It's that these skis really are only kind of giving you half of a turn. And where does the half of the turn end? Under your foot, that's what you're feeling. At least in my opinion.
Unfortunately, there's not much more I can say about that. I find it striking enough to mention, obviously, and it's a concern. If it is a tune issue, probably the ski is considerably better than the impression I'm getting out of it. If it's not a tune issue, then I'm genuinely surprised, because that's not what I would expect from something that's designed to be surfy and playful.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that it feels surfy and playful in the powder. You're in Mammoth, so you get good powder. I'm not sure what's going on there. It doesn't look like a ton of powder in the video, but it's hard to tell from just watching this. Sounds like you don't like these and you want to like add a little asterisk in case there's an issue. If you're gonna add that level of uncertainty, either one, get a different pair, try a different width, see if it feels similar. But I can tell you, as someone who also skied on these skis all day, it doesn't get any better. They don't feel good. They feel good if you're in like the deep powder and you're just kind of floating on top. But if you're trying to get your turn initiated, they're really, really disappointing. If you really like these skis and you're only in the powder and you don't care about carving or even like loading up a ski and turning it, maybe if you're just kind of hot dogging and sliding your turns out, for people who are really turning, it doesn't feel good.
It is lighter, it is quicker compared to the Maverick, and
okay, it's only like 100 grams lighter than the Maverick. I keep seeing this. It's like people default to Titanal skis being a lot heavier, because historically they were. When they first came out, I think that they were like significantly, at least, you know, anecdotally from what I remember. But they're only 100 grams heavier, and you get a lot more ski and a lot more turn out of it for that little bit of extra weight.
On the face, on the steeper pitch, making my little kind of fast, snappy turns, the ski felt better, again, notwithstanding that weird sort of grabbiness underfoot. So not really a very satisfying review for any of us here, because I'm just not sure what it is that I'm noticing.
Don't dodge it. You don't. This man has seen the light. He's seen the haters. He's seen people who love the ski. He's like, no, I hated it, but you know, maybe it was a tune. Maybe, you know, who's to say? It's like, dude, just own it. These skis don't feel good. And what you're feeling isn't the tune. It's where the ski gives you half of a turn. And for somebody who really turns a lot, it's a very unsatisfying feeling.
if you're interested in this ski, I would definitely test it out before you buy it. And if you notice the same or different, please let me know, because there's not much more I can say. All right.
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said. I said, if you're like dead set on getting these skis, at least try them, okay? Maybe your experience will be different, but so far, 2 for 2. This is the only other guy I've seen out there that's not selling something. Maybe he is. I haven't done a lot of research, but he had the exact same experience I had. Yeah. Okay, I'm not telling you this because I hate Atomic. In fact, my favorite skis are Atomic. But I'm telling you this because you're going to be stuck with these skis and you might be really dissatisfied if you care about your turn shape. All right, let's see what this guy's website's all about. Okay, doesn't look like he's selling anything. If anyone knows anything about this guy, if he's selling anything, let me know. But he looks like he's just doing the same thing I am, telling people about skis. Okay, all right. Man, I like this guy's reviews. He was on the money. He was a little shy, you know, like, oh, but maybe it was just the ski tune. You know, I don't want to be too harsh. It's like, dude, you didn't like the skis, just say that. But overall, great review. He felt a lot of what I felt. Would just like to see a little bit more field-based skiing, because you can talk about like the construction and yada yada, but really what it comes down to is, how does the ski feel? That always trumps everything else. You can say, oh, well, it's got this and it's got this top sheet, whatever. How does the ski feel to you? At the end of the day, in my opinion, that's what matters most. But 2 thumbs up. All right, so if you like this content, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps my channel out a lot. I'm still pretty new, but really, I just love making this content. And more than anything, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. It means a lot to me. Everyone's super nice in the comments. If you want to make sure you get all of my content kind of as it comes out, because it is a little sequential, I'll go through a ski and kind of check out different reviewers, or as I do a ski review. If you want to see all of the content in the order that it comes out, consider hitting the notification bell. But otherwise, just, yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.